Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
As always, the Ramble is sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. If you're a growing business and you want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. Thank you for joining the team for their continued support for the Ramble. And today's Ramble is also sponsored by V&B Auto Centres at Handsworth. They're still offering that fantastic deal of 50% off your next MOT when you let them know you're a Rambler. And thank you again to Aaron and the team for their support also. What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is hot off the presser. It's probably still going on, to be honest with you, because we just about got to the end of it, and then it kept freezing, and it kept repeating, and it kept going back to the same bit and the same bit. So I'm pretty sure he's just about finished. We certainly have. I kept it on in the background, and it just kept looping. So we're going to dive straight into it. Thank you to everybody that's joining us here. We're going to get you all the news from the press conference. Has it made you more nervous now? Has it become very real? Has he got you psyched up for the game? I know Sausage Rolls had his say prior to the game. Don't like him. Don't like him anymore. He's annoyed me. But I suppose that was the intention, wasn't it? So come on, Chrissy Wilder, let's put him to bed at weekend. Right. Gids started us off. In fact, there were 4 questioners this time. So Gids starts us off from Radio Sheffield. Talked about Vinny Souza. He said last time we spoke, he was going for a scan. And Wilder very vaguely answered this. We're like, what's the latest update on Vinny? He says, yeah, several players are managing knocks and things like that. We're managing their issues. We're trying to make everyone available. Some will miss out. And Gid said, so is Souza ruled out then? And he said, no, he's not ruled out. He's not ruled out. I think he's ruled out. What about Campbell, Cannon? He says, yeah, they're both available. And he says, anyone else pushing his luck? And Wilder says, I'm not going to give you every name, Gids. I'm not going to go through names individually. Fair enough. You don't ask, you don't get, do you? Fair play, Gids. Then moved his attention to the Peck England call-up. What about Siddy then getting his first call-up to the elite squad for England? I think it's the elite squad rather than under 21s. Don't know what the difference is, really. Fully deserved. He's delighted for Siddy. He's been outstanding this season. It can only make him a better player by going up and joining, playing in different places, playing in different environments with different players. Has he benefited from the relationship with, and certainly what's happened, unfortunately, to Ollie Arblaster? And Wilder says it's a friendly rivalry between them. They push each other. They push each other hard to get better. All players are good competition in the group. I've got good competition in the group. We strengthened well in January. In terms of Siddy, generally his performances have been spot on, which I think is key. And that's probably in line with what we've been saying on this channel, what a lot of you are saying in the comments. For 90% of the time, he's been very, very good, Siddy Peck. He does have the odd off game. But again, he's played a lot more minutes than he was expected to. And that's something, that's something that Gids comes on to, but he just finishes his point, Wilder, by saying it's great recognition and a great example to other young players in his position to take the chance when it comes. And Gids then spoke about, has he played more minutes than you'd have expected him to? He said, well, actually, you never know with young players. We give them an opportunity, like we did with Blaster last season. I give him the captain's armband at Old Trafford. I trust in our young players. The trust in our young players here is huge. When I came back to the club and previously in his time there, one of the main aims was to dominate the youth in the area. And we do that consistently and we'll continue to do that. A nice little side swipe at the opposition on Sunday, but he's absolutely right. When was the last time they had somebody come through their academy and sold on for big money or did good things? We do dominate the youth at this level. On to Sheffield Wednesday then, says Gids, unfortunately. He said, yeah, they had a good recovery at the weekend. He said when the manager first came in, he sort of pulled them out of trouble, a good recovery overall. A couple of great results for them recently. The home and away the home record compared to their away record is not great, but form does go out of the window. when going into these games. It'll be a competitive and an emotional game. It won't be free flowing. They very rarely are, these games. But we've got the chance to do the double over them. A win for them will be really big. There'll be a strong atmosphere at Hillsborough. 3 points for them is huge, but I still think they'll need to win 7 out of 9 of the last remaining games if they're going to try and challenge for the playoffs. But they'll want to stop us as well. They've got good players. Gassama, Windass, and Bannon he mentioned. There are some bits of back and forth between the two sides of the city, but we're competitors. We're competitors, and they're a competitive group, and they'll be trying for their best performance. It talked about the rivalry and the performances. We don't go into games wanting to. Does it affect performances really, and is it down to individuals to handle the occasion? I think was the general vibe of the question. We don't go into games wanting to be apprehensive. Obviously, that's never the situation, says Wilder. The one thing he will say is he's never been told at this club that it's promotion or bust. So there's no the owners previously and the owners now are fully aware of the size of the task that was in front of them in the summer. So obviously, having said that, there's ambition at the club, himself, the players, probably now the board as well. We're on track to get promotion. We're an ambitious club and we're on track to get what we want. And we've dealt with pressure like this previously and we know what it's about. What's it been like the last couple of weeks, says Gids? Have you sort of, sometimes players have interactions with fans in the street and stuff like that? He says, to be honest, we were disappointed with the Tuesday result, so we quickly move on from it. But I've not been out much personally. I'm in early. I'm home late. I've not been out and about much this week. It's a busy week for us as a football club, and I've been concentrating on my job. Gid said one of the reasons he asked that question is because Dom Iorf, who's a Wednesday player, electrician, is a Blade. So he's been speaking about that this week. And Wilder just says, well, good. I hope he charged him double. What about the players that aren't local to the area, says Gids? This was Gids' final question. How do they get an understanding of what this game's all about? He said, well, they know. They know everything about what it's about. We gave them a presentation before the home game earlier in the season. They get it. They're all in and have been all season. We wouldn't be where they are if they weren't all in and committed to the cause. We're on 79 points. Disappointed not to be on 81. Still using his Wilder math. I love it. We went up, just to put that in perspective, we went up on 89 points in the 18-19 season. So the points accrued, we're 8 points away from being on our previous promotion total, which is incredible to think, isn't it? So Danny Hall then came in and he talked about, I can't read my writing, about the Wendy's, to be honest. Something about Wednesday. He says, I get it. Sometimes it spills over. Football is the #1 sport in the city. We deal with it. It'll be on the... oh, dearie me. The 4-2 game when they equalised was up there with the biggest noise I've ever heard in football. That's a big compliment to them, innit, I suppose. We're quickly quieting them down, like he says. We've got chance to do the double here. I want the double. The players want the double. People remember the winners in football. They don't always necessarily remember performances. We can also strengthen our already really good position in the league. So we'll be going out to do absolutely everything we can. Is there a chance, Danny says, is there a chance for players to create their own legacy here? He says, absolutely there is. You talk about a double over your promotion rival, over your city rivals, promotion to the Premier League. They can be written into the history of the club. They don't want to be, also from a blue half perspective, they don't want to be beaten twice. He said their manager won't want to be known as the manager who got beaten twice by the Blades. And the first time we've done the double in ages over them. Take that, Danny. Take that, pal. Danny talked to him about pressure. Have the club got pressure on the shoulders? He says, we've had a target on our back from day one. We've been on -2 points. Stats are stats. Our away form is the best in the league. Their home form is the second worst in the league. It's not subjective. It's a fact. It's a fact, to quote Rafa Benitez. We're the second best team in the division with 9 games left to go, and that's how it is. And he's right. He's right. What about leaders? How much do you rely on your leaders on the pitch, says Danny. Wilder says, when it comes down to it, the game's not won in the stands. It's not even won by tactics or the prep that you put in, really. It's won on the pitch. And at times, it takes big moments, players to keep the discipline. These players have played in big games, and he reeled them off. And there were almost every player that he spoke about. He talked about Vinny Souza, Jack Robinson, Rob Holding, Anel. They've all played in really big games, and they've got through it. They've all managed it. We trust our players, and we trust them on Sunday to go out and do enough to get a result. Have the young players grow? Have you seen the young players grow in stature throughout the season? Danny asked. He said, well, they're regulars in the team, and they're regulars in a team that's winning. They've ticked that box, is what he said. They're succeeding in the team. They wouldn't be in the team if they weren't succeeding. So they have done that themselves. There's no reason to think they won't deal with the expectation on their shoulders, because they've proven to us that they can handle it. Top man. Shea Charles, this was Danny's last question. Shea Charles has famously come out, and obviously there were a bit of interest in January, and he's come out since and said there were absolutely no chance he were going to sign for Sheffield United this season. And Wilder says, well, we'll have to beg to differ on that, won't we? There was a conversation with Southampton, and we definitely spoke about him, the potential of him coming here. But he's a good player. He's a main actor for them, he said. So we're very respectful about it. So maybe that's not one that we've completely written off altogether. We shall see. Then Stu came in. I don't know Stu, but Wilder did. So I don't know where Stu's representing. Derby days, do you enjoy them? He says, I don't enjoy them. I don't enjoy most games. You're focused, but I've been in the game long enough to know that when the preparation's good, there's very few games where you can chill out and be 3-0 up with 5 minutes to go. And even then, you're focused on keeping a clean sheet. So no, it's not about enjoying the games. It's just about doing your job and getting through them. He says, yeah, but can you enjoy the success after derby games like this? He says, well, I'm sure Wednesday would enjoy it if they were to win. It's a product of success, like we've had in recent times. We're going to have to do a lot of things right on Sunday to make sure we get the result that we want. Is there a difference in how managers approach these games? Can you get too emotional? How are you going to approach the game? Are you going to be emotionally involved? He says, what do you reckon? What do you reckon? How I'm going to approach it? He said their previous manager had come out before the game and said, when we won 4-2, and said, it's just another game. I didn't. It's not another game. It's not just another game. I'm sure their manager this time won't be saying the same thing because of the reaction that they got last time. So there is an extra level of emotion to it. Is there anything in the fact that this is the last match before the international break? He said it was last time, to be fair, but the only thing that you can point to really is that there'll be a lot more enjoyment, and it'll go a little bit quicker if we get a positive result. It's going to be a long 2 weeks for whoever loses the game. If there's a loser in the game, it'll be a long 2 weeks. And then about the international break, what's going to happen with the players during international break was Stu's final question. Do they rest? You know, what happens basically? And he said, well, some will. It were basically down to the individual. So some will rest. Some that have been going hell for leather in games recently and need a bit of recovery time, or been carrying a knock or two, they might get a rest. Some players will be going away, like Siddy and Anel. It's a combination of things that we'll look to manage. So it does very much depend on the individual. And then James Shield came in and only got chance for one question before the feed cut off completely. So you were saying, talk to us about the dressing room. And Wilder's part answer was, the players have trained really well this week, and I expect them to continue that tomorrow. There's a definite step up in training and a buzz around the place. We were disappointed about the result from Tuesday night, but we won't let that affect us. And that were it. That were him cut off. So, yeah, another good presser from Wilder. I'm always positive after coming out of his press conferences. I know these things can often trot out similar answers, but it's the way he delivers. He's a proper leader, and he steers the way and assures me as a fan personally that they are doing absolutely everything they can to get the right result in this game. So I'm confident going into the game. I'm not looking forward to it particularly. We are going to be doing a watch along, as you would expect, on Sunday. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But let's jump into some of your comments, see what we think about it. Matthew starts us off saying, looking forward to this. That were at 9:10 that you put that, Matthew. So apologies, because we did schedule it earlier. We didn't know what time it was. Then we found out, obviously, that it would move back to what was essentially after 1:30 when he started. Will says the nerves are already through the roof. Yes, I know, mate. It's an awful game, isn't it? Particularly the away fixture. Josh says, is it just me or is the less getting leaked recently? Wilder seems to have worked out how to keep everyone guessing. And I think it's best for the club that way. Completely agree, Josh. Completely agree. It's nice to know, isn't it? But it's not a need to know. And if it results in those fine margins over the other team that they don't know who's fit, who's not fit, then it only benefits the club, doesn't it? We as an impatient fan base wanting to know all the information is great, but I'd rather we were kept in the dark and it gives us an extra 5% chance against our opponents. Harry says, afternoon, Jimmy. Hope you're okay. I am, thank you, mate. Hope you are too. Looking forward to this game. One of my friends is a piggy and I would love to brag about 6 points against them. Yeah, good luck with that, pal. Me too. Craig says, hi, Jimmy. Hope you and your family are well. Yeah, thank you, mate. Hope you and yours are too. Hopefully, Wilder will start with his strongest team and go for it from the start to keep the intensity up for the game. Yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope so. After all, the professional footballers, and that's their job. Other teams seem to manage those levels. Don't see why we can't. Up the blades, up the ramble. Like and subscribe. I think just on that point, Craig, that we have to go for it. And I think if players are 80% fit, we include them. And I'm talking about your top level play. I'm talking about if Vinny Souza is 80-20, should he start, I think we risk him because he's good enough of a player. And there's an international break coming up, isn't there? There's another, 12 days before we play our next game after this. So I think that might be, certainly not if it's increased risk of injury, but an 80% Vinny Souza is better than 120% Barry Bannon, isn't it? Like you, Jimmy, I would like to see Holding play the full game and see how he influences the defence. I thought he was superb against Bristol City. We need to see more of him if we're to take a punt on him at the end of the season. Up the blades, up the ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. I don't think it's a punt if he continues to put in the performances that he did on Tuesday night. Luke says, nerves are kicking in, Jimmy. It makes you realise how much you actually hate this fixture. Announced 1-0 Blades. Absolutely right. Mickey says, has the presser even started yet? It had just started when you put that comment down, Mickey. So hopefully you managed to catch some of it. Danny says, come on, Blades. Afternoon, Jimmy. Afternoon, all. Countdown to kick off is on, but really hoping we turn up on Sunday. Can't face another lacklustre performance against these. We have to walk out with 3 points. Completely agree, Dan. Completely agree. Grumpy Jack says, evening from work, Jimmy. I'll be popping in and out. Not looking forward to this game. We need to up our levels as they will bring it. We cannot be wasteful and sit back. Winning those second balls is a must. Really want to see that fight from our players and the performance. Please tell me Vinny and Gilchrist are back. Wasn't asked about Gilchrist. Even Clark. Wasn't asked about Clark. But he had said in the previous presser that they would be in contention for this game. So we'll see. Danny says, can't see Gilchrist being back. Nor can I, mate. Nor can I, to be honest. Liam says, afternoon, pal. What did he say about Vinny? Up all the rambles. Please like and subscribe. He was very aloof when it came to Vinny Souza. He said he's giving everybody a chance to be fit for the game, and he's not 100% ruled out, which I think means he's 100% ruled out. Yeah, I can see Gilchrist coming back for this game, says David. If he's fit, I would like to see him in contention. I just don't know if he is, David, to be honest. And he wasn't asked. Traffic must be bad, says Danny. Yeah, maybe so. Jack says, afternoon, Jimmy. I think Holding has to pair up with a Nell, as I think the occasion could get to Robbo. He's a hothead. If they come out and try to win, I think it will suit us perfectly. I agree. I agree with that. Brand says, crikey, Jimmy will be renaming this to Cold Off the Presser at this rate. Nice, Brand. Nice. Must be wearing his reffing watch. Yes, maybe so. Up the very late ramble. Hey, we're not late. The manager was late for the expected call. Drew says, I imagine the presser for this game has gone on longer than it usually would. Dio says, Jim sacked it off. I haven't, mate. I'm here. We always go live directly after the presser. So as soon as in fact, before he finished today, we were on. So it's just been a delay at their end for whatever the reason was. Maybe he were watching the Wendy's presser to get himself psyched up. Brett, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. Very much appreciated. Thank you. I really appreciate that, pal. You'll be able to get into our WhatsApp group now. You should be able to access something on our private community page that allows you in there. If not, let me know and I'll get that sorted out. Oh, what's happened here? Mickey says, some bloke saying behave has crashed my press. Yes, exactly. That's what happened to me. Here we go, says Danny. Press broke. Yeah, I know. Come on, Blade, says Matthew. Afternoon, Jimmy and fellow Ramblers. Let's see what mind games Wilder has up his sleeve then, shall we? Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Nige. David says, afternoon, Jimmy and all the Ramblers. It's getting closer, Blades. Stay strong, nerves of steel. Up all the Rambles, up the Blades. Top man. Hey up, mate, says Ricky from Just United. I'm looking forward to it. I think how they play, it plays into our style, and I think we'll end up dominating them. Interesting. It'll be a quiet Hillsborough, won't it, if that's the case? Maury says, to be fair, it made me right calm and collective about these lot. I'll never like Sausage Roll and the Tuna Man, even though the Tuna Man is doing a great job in messing them up. Come on, Blade, says Jord. Absolutely right. Maury says, see, 7 out of 9 is like a promotion form. If we get 7 out of 9, we're up, aren't we? Let's be right. I'm pretty sure of that. Well, that was dreadful, says Jamie Dumpling. Am I the only one who's just had the stream start 7 minutes in? Yes, you are, pal. Yes, you are. I got it from the start. Didn't we last do the double in 2006? That sounds about right, Maury. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. Form goes out the window, Derby Day, says Danny. We all know that. It does, pal. It does. No doubt about it. Donna says Holding must play. If both Burnley and Leeds win, we drop out of the top 2. Sunday is a must-win for me. Yeah, if Burnley win, we have to beat Wendy's. We have to beat them anyway, obviously, because of the game. But we won't get back in to the top 2 if we don't beat them and Burnley do their bit. Ricky says, I think the key battles will be in the middle. If Hamer plays in the middle, I think we can control the tempo. I agree, but I think Hamer doesn't win the ball much in the middle, does he? I think he can dance around him, don't get me wrong. But Rick says, I agree, Donna. Every game is a must-win now. To be honest, if Burnley get in the top 2, I don't see them dropping back out. I hope I'm wrong. It's still very, very tight. Jamie says there was some fourth bloke in the presser today with a really strong Indian accent. Not sure who he was. It wasn't an Indian accent. It was a Cockney accent. It's James Shield. Now that is my gaffer, says David, and mine, mate, and mine. Danny says I'm worried we don't have enough to keep Burnley back if we keep playing like we have been. We need to assert ourselves, score goals, and go right to the end. We certainly do. Neil says Anel hasn't stepped down from international. Hasn't he stepped down from international duty? Oh, yes, he might have done, actually. I'm sure he said Anel might be going away, but that might have just been habit, or I might have just picked it up subconsciously. But yes, I think you might be right, Neil, actually, after the whole business about, yeah, there was a bit of a hoo-ha last time, weren't there? I think Wilder has drilled into the boys that we need to be at our best, says Maury. Michael says, Jimmy, is Hamer, Sousa and Campbell fit for the match on Sunday? He said that Tyrese Campbell was. And when asked about Sousa, and nobody named Hamer specifically, but he said we're giving everybody every opportunity to be fit for Sunday. And that's as much as he was able to go with. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, says Drew. Top man. Brett says, got to watch the game with a load of pig fans. Oh, if we lose, I'm going to have to backdoor it. If Brewster scores, I'm there all night. Best of luck with that, pal. Michael says, we'll hold him be fit for Sunday. Absolutely will. He came off, I think, with cramp, it was said in the end. So, yeah, Holding's got to play if he's fit, hasn't he? Rich says, afternoon, Jimmy. I fear we have some key players missing for Sunday, but I'm now at the point where my nerves are already shot. Up all the Rambles. Good luck, everyone. Best wishes, Blades. Let's get it over with. Yeah, spot on. Spot on. Vinny's definitely ruled out, says Jack. I get that vibe too. Scott's taking a 0-0 now. Hate this game. Rather watch my daughter being born again from the bottom. Oh, Scott, nice one, pal. Nice one. A 0-0 might see us in third with 8 games to play, everything level. So yeah, I'm not sure. I can't. You can't take a draw for me. If Leeds and Burnley drop points, do you think the team management and management get a boost, says Michael? Yes, I definitely do. I really thought Burnley and the Blades would get a boost from Leeds' loss at Portsmouth, but both teams drew. Yes, but then you could look at it as we both dropped points on the Tuesday night, and on the Wednesday, Leeds go and win because they knew they had to win. So depends how the team reacts, doesn't it? Drew says, I like this fixture. I must buzz off the cortisol. Cooler King says, I hate derby days. Don't know if the same for the same in Sheffield, but in Birmingham, the atmosphere is nasty. There's often trouble. The football generally isn't great, and I'm nervous all day. Hopefully, we can avoid trouble. Nobody wants that, but sometimes it does spill into that. The football is generally dire, to be honest, and it is a very nervous day. Very nervous day. Where was this next one? Michael says, I hope Wilder will be using Barry Bannon's comments to his players. You mentioned that on the previous stream, Michael. I don't know what Barry Bannon said. Do you mean on Football Heaven? Because I was listening to that. I'm not, he can say what he likes, can't he? Wanted to see us flying out of the block, says MDC1. And attacking for this one. Reading earlier that they haven't beaten us since 12-13. Last 5 are 2 wins and 3 draws. We need Sousa. Matthew says, get the like button hit. Thank you, pal. 340 people here at an awkward time of the day. So thank you to everybody that's joined us. I think under Neil Warnock, I'm not sure when Quinn scored one and they can buy in the reverse fixture. Yeah, maybe so. Brand the Blade says, definitely think Wilder has kept his cards closer to his chest than usual. And so he should for this one. I think Sousa will be fit. Hope so, pal. And Harry Clark or Gilchrist will be back on the bench. Rob Holding has to play. I completely agree. I'm looking forward to Sunday. 2-0 Blades. Holding needs to start for me, says Jace. Up the Blades, up the full-time Ramble. Like and subscribe. The 4th bloke was after James Shield. No. It went Gids, Danny Hall, Stu, who I don't know who Stu is, and then James Shield was the 4th bloke. I believe the Owls lost their last home game against Coventry 1-2, last-minute winner for Coventry. Yeah, they've won the 2 after that, though, haven't they, I think? So, look, form goes out the window, Michael. They've got terrible home form. And Anelli's 1 yellow away from a ban, though. No, he's not, Danny. That was ruled out at Bristol City. It's now 15 yellows for the rest of the season. And I think that's a 3-game ban if you get 15 yellows. I might be wrong, though. I want to win this game 2-0, says Maury. I want to win this game 1-0 if it means that we're beating them and 3 points. 5, 6, 7-0 would be the best, but just beat them. Does the fact that we'll still have to play Burnley make it better or worse, says Luke? Depends if you're in front or behind, doesn't it, I suppose? Up the ballot Blades, says LH. Just been to the lane to pick up my Sunday tickets. Nice one, pal. Well done. I want a 9-0 on 9-0 more, he says, Danny. Absolutely right. It was Bananas misses about Blaster's injury. Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. Less said about that, the better. I know last time it kicked off across the road from Eccleshall Road when the Wednesdays came to our ground. Yes, it did, unfortunately. On Sunday, we just have to win. As anything else, we're out of the top 2 and with Burnley to play. Up the Ramble. Rich says, Rich, our latest Platinum Rambler, thank you very much for your support, pal. I'll be watching from behind the sofa on Sunday. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Thank you, mate. The EFL really don't want Leeds United promoted. They've changed their Preston match to 12:30, a time where Leeds have only won 2 out of 13 matches at that time of the day, says Michael. Love that. Love that. Thought Anel had fallen out with the international manager. I think he has, Kev. Somebody mentioned that to me earlier. You might be right. Mickey D says the stream did come back on and the guy asked if Peck was ready for the big games. And Wilder said yes. He's played against the Pigs when he took Blaster off and played against Leeds. All right. Thank you. I'm glad we were able to get the last couple of dregs of it. Cooler King says, I think you have far better players than them and you'll have most of the possession. It's just a question of if you can turn that into possession into a couple of goals. I'm saying 2-1 Blades. As am I, Cooler King. Thank you very much for, again, joining us. An Aston Villa fan joining us on this stream. Very much appreciated. Everyone's welcome here. But yeah, I'm nervous. I'm not going to lie. I think we'll all be very nervous come kick-off. But we've got enough. I, like Wilder, trust these players to get the job done. And if we can't, then is it fair that we drop out of the top 2 and have to have a word with ourselves and go again? Look, big game. Big game on Sunday. I'm doing a watch-along. We're going to the Caravan this afternoon. I'm doing a watch-along tomorrow of the QPR Leeds game. So join us there on Behind the Ramble. I'll be there with George Motson. And then on Sunday from 12 o'clock, I'll be doing a solo watch-along of this game and then straight into 90 after 90. So big Sunday game for us. Big day for the Ramble. We're going to be on a lot. You might be sick of seeing me, so I do apologise. Maury says, then fans, what's kickoffs? That kickoff is the minority of both groups. Absolutely right, it is. And you'll be joining us as ever. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up the flipping Blades. Fellow Blades, nice. Good lad. Good lad. I know we're watching it. Danny says, up the Blades, up all the Rambles, like and subscribe. Hit the like, Blades. Thank you, pal. Brett says, do you think the Pigs want Robinson to play? There's got to be a high chance of a red card. Probably. Look, let me know what you think, because Man Mountain, when he came on last time, I can't remember which, we're streaming every day at minute, aren't we? But he thinks we could go to a back three, a 3-5-2 again, because it suits the players that are currently available. Sariki's better as a wing back. Burrows can play wing back. We've got the 3 centre defenders. You know, we could go then Peck and Hamer in the middle, maybe. O'Hare in the 10. Brereton Diaz and Campbell up front. It's there, isn't it, for consideration. Football X says, what do you think think this Sheffield #1 is good enough to play in the league? The Sheffield 11 is good enough to play in the league? The Premier League? No, mate. I don't think any team in the Championship is good enough to survive in the Premier League at the minute, which is why there's always such huge turnover of teams. Brand says, Barry Bannon is really good at talking before a derby for someone who's never won one or finished above us. A desperate search for relevance. The irrelevant nobodies like to try and shout the loudest. Brand, if you were 56 and still getting picked week in, week out and being paid 30 grand a week by a club, you would also be loyal to them. So I don't hold it against Baz for that. I don't know when his next hair transplant is due, but it might be coming up. Just accept it. Just accept that you're getting older, pal. Accept that, you know, you've never, like Brand says, you've never finished above us. It's a shame, really. He's a good player. He's a good player. He's just, when you're relying on a pensioner to get you through a season, it's a little bit sad, isn't it? This derby's like England playing Slovakia, says Chef Steele. Michael says Leeds United have more to worry about during the international break, as more of their players are on international duty than Burnley and Sheffield United. That's a good point. Not thought of that, to be honest. Danny says, I'll be in Dronfield bright and early Sunday. Nice one, pal. Drew says, I'm sure the Blades dressing room won't care what Barry thinks. I agree. I'll tell you what will be up on the wall, though. They're the bookies' favourites to win the game. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Neil says, Jimmy, Vinny has to start even if not fully fit, as there's a 2-week break straight after. I agree with that, Neil. I agree with that. And Mickey says, what do you think to Trafford being called up for England and Coop's not getting a look in? I don't mind Trafford being called up. You look at Burnley's record. He's played very well this season, so it's not against Trafford. What I am against is Aaron Ramsdale getting in front of Michael Cooper, because that is purely based on the league that they're playing. He's not played better than Cooper this season, and I think Cooper's a much better goalkeeper, personally. But I know who I'd rather have anyway. Jack says most of their goals have come from play down the wings. Whoever's on that right side will have to block across, but I'm sure Wilder will be firing them up. Cooler King says Bannon played for the Villa a while back. I see he still looks like a little boy, but with a massive bald spot. Martin says, afternoon all. If the game's Saturday go against the Blades, do you think it will have an effect on how we set up on Sunday? I don't think it'll have an effect on how we set up, Martin. I think the plan will be in place, but it has to motivate them. It has to motivate them, because we need to go into the break in the automatic spots. Michael says, last season, the international break killed Leeds United with James, Connor Roberts, Nonto and Grove all coming back injured and missing a few matches in the run-in, with Rutter having a hernia up, cost them. Michael, I love your throwback facts, and let's hope something similar. I never want to wish injury on a player, but let's just say fatigue. Hopefully, they are affected by this international break, and we're not. But anyway, any little margins I'll take at the minute, and I'm not too proud to say that. But thank you to everybody for joining us. It's just gone 2:30 and we've got 360 people here watching us. So thank you to everyone for your time. I'm very nervous, as I say, but I fancy us 2-1 Blades. Tyrese Campbell to put the ball in the Wednesday net. Tyrese flipping Campbell. Write his name in Sheffield United folklore. And we go into the international breaks in the automatic promotion races. See you tomorrow for the Leeds watch along. Then I'll see you on Sunday for the huge, huge game. Come on, you red and white wizards. Up the blade! Ramble on!